Okay. Just go ahead and take a seat and get comfortable. And I'm just going to pull up a couple of things here, okay? Just set that down. Alright. So, first of all, it's always fantastic to see you. I'm really glad that you came in today. I know things have been a little bit difficult, but hopefully this is going to help you. So I have sort of a different idea for today's appointment. A little bit similar. I do want to ask you some questions because I know that that's been a comfortable way for you to kind of open up. But I know you said you've been having a little bit of trouble with really opening up on a more personal level, getting into some deeper topics, not just here, but with people in your personal life. Yeah, okay. So I have compiled a list of questions that gets progressively more personal as we go along. So the first few questions are very surface level things that you probably would feel comfortable discussing with pretty much anybody. If you were to sit next to somebody on the bus or something and they seemed relatively normal. Then we eventually will get into some questions that are incredibly personal and would frankly make most people a bit uncomfortable. So some of these questions might make you a little uncomfortable. You do not have to answer any of them. Definitely want to respect your privacy and your boundaries, especially as we're getting to know each other. So if anything, if you don't want to answer it, fully understand, especially as we get into the more personal things. But as a second part of this exercise, I will stop occasionally and ask you about that question itself and whether you would feel comfortable answering that question from different people in your life. So, for example, the first question is, what is your favorite color? And you can answer it. What's your favorite color? Okay. And would you feel comfortable answering that question if it was asked to you by a colleague? Okay. Yeah. So this is also going to give me an idea of how guarded you are in your personal life and really how difficult it is for you to open up to people. Okay. All right. Number 2. What is your favorite show airing right now? Okay. And what network is that? So, is that something that you like because of the plot, or does it have an actor you like in it? Yeah. That sounds really interesting. I'll have to check it out. Okay. What is your favorite video game? Favorite video game? Okay. And what languages do you speak? What languages do you speak? Okay, and what is your proficiency in those languages? Alright, that's great. I wish I spoke another language. What is the last song that was stuck in your head? That's a little harder, yeah. Go ahead and think about it. Yeah, okay. Now that is catchy. And did you have the full song stuck in your head, or was it just a section of the lyrics? Okay, yeah, that's the worst. Oh my gosh, especially if you don't know all the lyrics. I've had to look them all up before just so that I could progress past that one point in my head. Okay. Do you have any pets? Okay, and what are their names? And do you have any siblings? Any siblings? Okay. How many? Thank you. What is a skill or talent that you have? Skill or talent that you have? That's really cool. How long have you been doing that? Yeah. What was your favorite subject in school? Favorite subject in school? Is that what you got the best grades in usually? Yeah. Okay. How are you feeling today? Yeah, so it's another question. It's part of the list, but maybe getting a little bit more personal in terms of how you were really feeling. How are you feeling today? Okay. Yeah. What is your middle name? Oh, that's pretty. That's a good name. Okay, do you ever narrate your actions in your head like you're writing a book? Yeah, it's kind of, it's a very specific question. Okay, so no. What's something that you have been putting off? Something you've been putting off? And what's the worst job you've ever had? Oh, okay, yeah. That sounds really terrible. Yeah. That sounds exhausting. Alright. Do you have any recurring dreams? Any recurring dreams? Okay. How often do you zone out while people are talking? Yeah. What do you think it is that makes you zone out? Just distraction. So do you find that it's easier when you're really interested in the topic, or do you still find yourself wandering? Okay. What is something that makes you different from most people? Oh. Okay. No, that is a good one. Can you tell me something a little bit more personal? Try to go a little deeper than that. Something that makes you different from other people. Okay. Yeah. That's really good. That's good self-reflection too, and I really appreciate you sharing that with me. That's great. Okay. All right. What physical attributes do you find attractive in a partner? Physical attributes. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, this is the time where I'm asking you to be shallow. All right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, that makes it. Yeah, just if you just give me a celebrity name, that covers it, right? Okay. Do you belong to any religion? And what is your political affiliation? Okay. Going back to the previous question, do you belong to any religion? How comfortable would you be answering that question from a coworker? From a coworker, how comfortable? Yeah. Okay. And that same question about your religion, how comfortable would you be answering that question from a friend? How about from a very close friend? Okay. And from a family member? Okay. Thank you. And the same question, political affiliation, how comfortable would you be answering that question from a coworker? Okay. from a friend on a scale of 1 to 5, we'll say. Okay. From a very close friend. Yeah. And from a family member. Alright, thank you. Who in your family do you feel closest with? Yeah. Can you tell me why? A little bit more specific? Good. And what is a positive memory that you have about this family member? That's good. I'm glad there's a lot. Okay. Excellent. That's awesome. Next question. How much do you weigh? How much do you weigh? Okay. You're doing a really good job answering the questions for me so far. And I understand that that's because we've really built this relationship, and also it's very confidential. How comfortable would you be answering a question about your weight from a coworker? Okay. Thank you. Oh no, it's not a test. So some of these, you really shouldn't be comfortable with somebody asking you who doesn't really know you. We'll get into some too. It's also helps me determine sometimes if somebody has good boundaries. So I might go through a list like this with somebody who is struggling to build boundaries, who really shares too much. Sort of maybe the opposite of the issue you're having. Okay. But no, not a test. It's okay if you're not comfortable with something. Right. Have you experienced any recent changes or challenges in your life? Recent changes or challenges? Okay. And how do you feel like that has impacted your everyday life? Okay. Good. How would you describe your overall emotional well-being? Very broad question, I know. Yeah. Okay. How would you feel answering a question like that posed to you by a friend? Sort of, say somebody that you hang out with or speak to a couple times a week. You speak to this person a couple times a week. Okay. And how about a close friend? Yeah. Okay. Do you drink alcohol? How frequently? Okay. Is that something that causes you any stress? Okay. What are your main sources of stress? Can you list 5 for me? 5 of your main sources of stress. Number 1. Okay. They don't have to be in order, that's okay. Number 2. Okay. Number 3. Yeah. Number 4. Okay. And number 5. Number 5. Alright. Thank you. These are things, I know we've already started to talk about these and address them in different ways. We are going to continue to do that, of course. 27. Who are some people in your life that you just don't like? No judgment, of course. Okay. Yeah, how about, can you name 3 people that you don't like and tell me why? So, number 1. Okay, and why do you not like that person? Okay. out. Okay. Number 2. Okay. And what about that person? What is the issue there? Okay. And number 3. Okay. And how about that? Okay. Honestly, these seem extremely valid reasons. Okay, so that's also helps me to gauge of how you react to people in your life, maybe how things set you off, how egregiously you take things. I guess that can help me determine that. But these are really good reasons to be not like someone, and that's okay. What is your annual income? Okay. And are you in debt or struggling financially? Okay. And how comfortable would you be answering that question from a coworker? Yep. From a close friend? From a romantic partner? Okay. What's your credit score? Just an estimate is fine. Okay. And is that something that causes you stress? Okay. Have you ever had a major falling out with a friend or family member? Something where you really do not talk to this person anymore? Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about that situation? Yeah. Who do you feel was at fault? Okay. That's a very mature answer. Do you really feel that way? Okay. No. Did my last question make you uncomfortable? Okay. Yeah, it's kind of directed to it just pushing back against somebody's response to something and asking if they really feel that way can feel a little bit persecutory, so that makes sense. Good. Cannot attest. Okay. Do you have any medical conditions or chronic illnesses? Any medical conditions or chronic illnesses? Okay. And what medications do you take? Okay, what's that for? What else? Okay. And do you have a history of mental health concerns or diagnoses? Mental health concerns or diagnosis? I find it interesting that that falls after medical conditions. I think maybe because it can be considered a little bit more personal or taboo to talk about your mental health. Though I think talking about your physical health is also obviously very private. So, yeah. Okay. Have you ever experienced a significant breach of trust? Have you ever experienced a significant breach of trust? Okay. And who would you feel comfortable telling that to? Would you feel comfortable telling that to a best friend? Okay. Family member? Okay. Do you believe in the death penalty? Have you ever cheated on a romantic partner? Okay. And does does it make it more comfortable if I ask it like a secret? Have you ever cheated on a romantic partner? Okay. Do you use any illegal substances? Okay. Have you ever struggled with addiction or substance abuse? Yeah. Okay. So I'm starting to get even more personal here with some of these. Let's see. Have you ever been charged with a crime? Have you ever been charged with a crime? Okay. Have you ever intentionally hurt somebody? I want you to think very carefully about that one. I think that maybe something to reflect on. Okay. Yeah. How do you feel about that now? Do you have feelings of guilt? Gotcha. Let's see. Can you tell me just a little bit more detail about that? Okay, that's all right. No, that's good to set a boundary. I understand. Have you ever questioned your own sexuality or gender identity? Okay. What is the worst thing you have ever done to another person? The worst thing you've ever done to another person. Okay. Yeah. How old were you? Yeah. Do you know anything else about it? No. Okay. Is this something you feel bad about? Yeah, I can tell when you're talking. Okay. No, I understand. I really appreciate you telling me that, and I think if you're comfortable, that's something we can explore further. Yeah, okay. Next question. How old were you when you first had an intimate relationship? Okay. Is there anything that you feel deeply guilty about? So not just something minor, something that is really bothering you, something that you feel really bad about. Yeah. So that links to the, yeah, okay. Makes sense. Do you have any proclivities that some might consider taboo? Okay. Okay. And is that something that you're comfortable sharing with other people, romantic partners? Okay. Yeah. We can definitely understand. Now, final question. Are there any deep personal secrets you've never shared with anyone that you would like to share with me today? Okay. Yeah. So when was that? Yeah, I know you've mentioned her. Okay, so this is something that's really still affecting you then. Yeah. And I know we touched on it very briefly in a previous appointment, but I think it's really important to get more into that because I think you have a lot of feelings surrounding that a lot of feelings of responsibility that you don't necessarily, doesn't seem like you were responsible in this situation. And I say that as sort of it wasn't your fault kind of thing, but I know that sounds very hollow. So I think next week I'd like to talk more about that, but I do have some journal activities that I am going to send you home with so that you can explore that a little bit more. And I'd like to maybe review those before you come in for your next appointment. So if you could work on those for the next few days and then send them to me. Okay, fabulous. So I'm gonna send that to your email because you usually like to fill them out on your iPad, right? Okay. No, it's convenient because then you can send them right back. So I'm going to a couple journal activities. Can you complete these? Okay. Numbers 7, 8, 9. Read section A. So there's a short reading. It's only a couple pages. And then there's a few journal entries. Okay? Alright. So I am going to send those over to you. And I'm going to call you in a couple days after you've done those because I know that can be difficult bringing all that stuff up. So I'm going to call you in a couple days, check, see how you're doing. You can text me if you need me, my office cell, okay? Alright. I cannot wait to continue getting into these things that are going to help you, and I'll see you next week.